I'm gonna try to do this in my big truck. I have my Bluetooth on. Hopefully it'll come out all right. But I just got to share this video. You guys aren't gonna believe this. This is what happens, and they're actually, this is a skit. They're mocking, and this is what they do to people that tell the truth. Check this out. This is crazy.
My God.
One day after dozens of people smashed the windows of this tram, setting off fireworks on board while some of them screamed "Cancer Jews" in Dutch.
What we've seen this weekend of the anti-Semitic attacks against Israelis and Jews are nothing short of shocking.
I'm staggered about how brazen you've been. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't like it when people think they're better than other people. And you see that in Israel, and they're acting like that, and they're treating Palestinians like second-class citizens. They're treating them like subhuman beasts, and it sells that in their Talmud.
This guy on the right, I'm not sure who he is, but he's got like a military special ops type look to him, probably CIA or something, but every single word that comes out of his mouth is the truth, and you guys will see it. And look how Pierce Morgan attacks him. This is the way they do us, all of us that have told the truth. I mean, they'll make it out that that it's hate speech. They turn the truth into hate speech. But just watch this interview. This is mind-blowing.
So I don't like it when people think they're better than other people. And you see that in Israel, and they're acting like that, and they're treating Palestinians like second-class citizens. They're treating them like subhuman beasts, and it sells that in their Talmud. So it says if you are not a Jew, that you are basically subhuman. And I don't think that Judaism and Christianity go hand in hand. I mean, they believe that Jesus is in hell burning in human shit, and they believe that the Virgin Mary is a whore. So I don't think those are two religions that really intersect very well. But, you know, we've been programmed that they do, and we've been programmed that it's okay and that Jews are the chosen people, and I just disagree with that. I think everybody's equal.
Do you even comprehend how this interview is going to play out when it airs?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be bad.
In a letter to the city council, the mayor calling the attacks a toxic cocktail of anti-Semitism, football hooliganism, and anger over the war in Palestine and Israel and other parts of the Middle East.
When you have a religion that promotes these things and promotes supremacy, I think you're going to have problems. And you see that in Israel. Israel is a manifestation of that religion. And I think that religion is, you know, it's terrible. I don't believe in white supremacy. I don't believe in Jewish supremacy. I don't believe in supremacy at all. And right now, I think you have massive Jewish supremacy.
You sound like a Nazi.
I don't believe in Jewish supremacy. I don't believe in supremacy at all. And right now, I think you have massive Jewish supremacy.
You sound like a Nazi.
He couldn't even hardly say that with a straight face. Anybody that goes against a certain group is automatically a Nazi. Give me a break, Pierce.
I mean, why do you say that?
This is what I will do to defeat anti-Semitism and defend our Jewish citizens in America. My first week back in the Oval Office, my administration will inform every college president that if you do not end anti-Semitic propaganda, they will lose their accreditation and federal taxpayer support.
That sounds a little fascist to me. That's a censor. You know, that what happened to free speech, Mr. Trump? So anybody that says what they're not supposed to, they're going to lose their funding. That definitely sounds like a communist move to me.
Truth is, you don't have to do much after that. When you do that, it's going to work miracles. Please sit down. We will not subsidize the creation of terrorist sympathizers, and we're not going to do it certainly on American soil. We're not going to do it anywhere. Next.
He just said it. Anybody that speaks against this certain religion, if even just disagreeing, you are a terrorist. You heard it out of Trump's mouth. You're a terrorist.
I will inform every educational institution in our land that if they permit violence, harassment, or threats against Jewish students, the schools will be held accountable for violations of the civil rights law. It's very important. Jewish Americans must have equal protection under the law. They're going to get it. At the same time, my administration will move swiftly to restore safety for Jewish students and Jewish people on American streets.
It sounds to me, Dan, like you do actually hate Jewish people.
No, I believe that Jewish supremacy is the greatest threat to the world today. I look at what they're doing in the media. They're pushing this transgender nonsense. I mean, and they did it in Germany. The first transgender clinic was opened by a Jewish guy. And I don't like this perversion pushed on our children. I don't like the fact that 9-year-olds are reading about homosexual acts. I don't like that drag queens are reading them in schools. I don't like that Kamala Harris wants to pay for changes in prison so that men can turn into women and women can turn into men. And I don't like the fact that he's putting in, men into women's prisons, male rapists into women's prisons because they identify as women. I mean, it's just nonsense. I don't like, men beating up women in boxing and sports. I think it's all nonsense.
This guy is saying what 90% of the population believe, but are afraid to say because they'll be labeled a terrorist and anti-Semitic. And this guy's telling the truth. I mean, that's what everybody else believes.
Nonsense, and I think it's leading to a degradation of moral fiber. And if left unchecked, I think it's going to ruin the world.
But again, you're blaming Jewish people. Why?
Because they're pushing this.
What do you mean they're pushing it? What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, they're controlling the media. I mean, the DEI is being pushed by BlackRock. BlackRock's execs are all Jewish. You look at where this is coming from.
Truth, and more truth.
It's not a surprise. They're controlling the media. I mean, the DEI is being pushed by BlackRock. BlackRock's execs are all Jewish. You look at where this is coming from. It's not a surprise.
Dan,
all the Disney execs are Jewish.
Dan,
they're pushing it on children.
Right? Do you accept, Dan, that you are just blatantly anti-Semitic?
Look, I have an issue with that term. I mean, I think the real Semites are the Palestinians. I mean, the DNA test that they've done on the Israelis that are living over there, they're Eastern European Ashkenazi Jews. I don't even think they're actual Semites. They don't have ancient Hebrew DNA, which is why the DNA test that they've done on the Israelis that are living over there, they're Eastern European Ashkenazi Jews. I don't even think they're actual Semites. They don't have ancient.
Go to the Bible, the book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 3, talks about Ashkenaz. And then when you go to verse 5, it says, by these were the isles of the Gentiles. So God's scripture backs up what this gentleman is saying right here.
Hebrew DNA, which is why DNA testing is illegal in Israel.
But, I mean, you're literally denying their existence now. I mean, you are just a brazen anti-Semite, aren't you? You hate Jewish people. You hate Israel. You hate the state of Israel, its government, everything about it. You're blaming them. You blame them in this interview for literally absolutely everything.
When you say, well, I think most of the problems today is caused by Jewish supremacy. I believe that.
See how this man's being attacked with propaganda. I mean, this is the most blatant propaganda I think I've ever heard in my whole life.
I'm honestly gobsmacked that you would say all this publicly.
I believe that.
I'm honestly gobsmacked that you would say all this publicly.
Pierce, your God is not our God. So,
given what a high profile you have.
Yeah, I mean, it is not a it's not a popular opinion for somebody that cares about money and cares about not being canceled. I mean, that's the problem, is you can say whatever you want against Muslims. You can be super anti-Muslim. You can talk about them and nobody cares. But if you say anything about Jewish people, you get canceled. They look what they did to Kanye. I mean, so why are they such a protected class? Let me ask you that.
I don't think they are. I think they're a class that get targeted by people like you, and indeed by Kanye, who's
what a liar.
Spewed horrible anti-Semitic nonsense. But yours seems to me to be more insidious, because you're literally blaming.
So you're literally blaming. With respect, let me finish. Not the other way around.
You're literally blaming Jewish people for almost everything that's happened that you don't like in the world. That is the purest personification of anti-Semitism right there. You're living in Qatar now.
Well, that's where I'm at right now. I'm not living here, but visiting.
Right. Is it the case that you feel safer to spew this kind of stuff from Qatar than you would spewing it in the United States?
Well, I mean, I've had a lot of Jewish people attack me since I started standing up in support of Palestine. When I started saying things that were against Israel, I found that I had my Jewish business manager tried to extort me. I had lawyers do things that were illegal, and I found a lot of just hatred from the Jewish community because I was speaking out against a genocide, and that really opened my eyes to what's going on.
You know why Jewish people?
Like I said, rarely is it the case that people on the right side of history are the ones that are trying to silence people.
Yeah, the reason Jewish people may dislike you is because of your obvious hatred for them and everything they stand for.
Honestly, when President Trump signs that legislation, who do you think he's coming after? Do you think he's coming after the lukewarm Republican Christians, or do you think he's coming after you and me?
One day, Jesus is coming. You may be at church. You may be at work. You may be asleep. God grant that you will be ready when he makes his personal appearance. My God, what if his appearance occurs on a Sunday morning? My prophetic word to you this morning is get ready.